In this episode of the BFIT Podcast, we spoke to Fabienne Lanz. She is a professional racing driver. We spoke about how important it was for her dad to actually know how to play the different roles of being her coach on the racetrack and being a dad at home. We spoke about how important it is to give back. We sometimes go me, but she actually took time to give back and have camps on teaching kids how to race. And most importantly, yes, ladies and gentlemen, she can change her own car wheel. See you in the episode. Lekker dames en heren, welcome to it back here on the BFIT Podcast. My name is Thabiso Kambule and our beautiful guest today, the one and only Fabienne Lanz. You Swedish?
That's close. It's Swiss. I'm born here though, but the parents come from Switzerland.
I see. Excuse my ignorance. What is the difference?
Okay, so Swedish people generally have blonde hair and blue eyes.
And they like chocolate.
And no, the Swiss people like chocolate. And we like cheese.
Do you like chocolate?
Yes.
What type of chocolate?
White chocolate. Milky Bar is very good.
Okay, cool. I wasn't on that tip, but hey, you took it. Fabienne Lanz is a professional race car driver, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't hear of many ladies and many girls that actually do this. Why this sport? Because let me start actually by saying this. You did ballet first, and now you are into racing professionally. Why that, and not why didn't you carry on with ballet?
So I suppose ballet at 5 years old is more your play ballet. When it gets a bit serious, which it did, where you got to point your toes and things like that, I was like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. So that enjoyment and fun sort of phased away. But my dad used to race, so I was in the environment of motorsport from the day I was born, even before I was born.
Wow.
So that was my exposure to the environment. And when the kids were old enough to try and do go-karting at the age of 8, that was my opportunity to give it a bash.
You went at it.
And I said to my dad, I actually like this. Can I come back to come and do this? So he made me go to an indoor karting place for 6 months to obviously check if this ever-changing child of his, because my mind changes a lot on...
And so we do as kids.
Then I want to do that.
Yep.
But I guess a lot of kids are like that. And after 6 months, I was like, okay, I still want to do this.
Wow.
And I was having a lot of fun with the kart racing, but it already taught me a lot of discipline at the time.
I can imagine.
Because the rule was homework first, and then you can go play.
I hear you.
Yeah, and then it sort of just grew from strength to strength. And after the 6 months, I got my own kart. And then I did my first race, and today we're here racing.
Is there a big difference between your rental go-karting, as you said, you guys, it's like basically going to a shopping center and then you go-kart, and then with what you do professionally, is there a huge difference?
There is actually a really big difference. A lot of people get a misconception from the mall kart versus what your high-performance kart can actually do. I did a fun race just about 2 weeks ago, and that kart of mine's got 6 gears. It does 144 k's an hour. Whoa. I think the average is like 90 something or more that you do around the corners, and this specific track is very long. So the lap times are 1 minute 24, and then you go do this for 20 minutes long of hardcore racing.
Goodness gracious. Do you ever go to a mall one, to a rental one, and say, boring?
No, I completely skip it altogether.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not fun at all. It's like comparing a Titanic boat to a racehorse.
Man.
I think that's the difference.
Kyk, nou voel ek baie sleg, want daai is vir my actually baie lekker. As ek partykeer so nou en dan mall toe gaan en ek ry daai, and so it's, oh my goodness. I've actually been blessed and fortunate enough to go to the Kyalami one. And I know I had so much fun on the day. It has this one huge straight that you go on, and then there's a little bit of a hump that goes on before you like take the corner. Do you have like a favorite track that you go to and say, hey man, this is like my thing, I love this specific track?
Yeah, so I suppose in South Africa it would be the one in Pietermaritzburg. It's because it's one of those circuits that if you don't push the boundary, you're too slow. And if you do go past the boundary, you crash. So it's one of those where you really need to know your kart and your grip levels of your tires and your engine and the ratios. It gets so technical. You have to know that aspect so well. And of course I can convert that really well. So I win there and I get fastest lap there. So that's my favorite track.
Fabienne, please give us a bit of advice. But like, I know there's times, and sorry, I'm gonna take you back here because this is all I know. Dit is daai go-karts by die mall, right? Daai is wat jy ietsie gaan betaal en jy kan in dit inklim. How do I better my time in that?
So most people think more power is faster.
Yes.
That's your natural thing in any kind of racing, even in the car racing that I do now as well. But my dad is a brake specialist, so he's actually brushed that off onto me. And the better you're braking, the better you can actually do handling, so you can corner better.
Okay.
The better you can come out the corner. So power is only from mid-corner out. That's when you need your power. So braking and your turning is in. So if that's where it starts. So if you brake correctly, the correct amount, and you turn and you get that G-force feeling where you want to fall out the cart, then that's good without sliding, because drifting is slow. And then you want to accelerate where you're almost pointing the cart straight, and then that's fast.
And that's what we always want to do. Want die drift is mos lekker, maar dit actually maak ons stadiger. My goodness, that I'm cool. Thank you very much. I didn't know that. And you were talking about braking on your golf. I think you said you and your pops have a bigger brakes on your golf now. How does talking about braking? How does that influence your racing? When it comes to basically your competition racing, and as well as for you, is there a difference in the 2 days?
So definitely the braking, going back to that, the bigger brakes are better, so you can brake later. But of course, when you are passing people as well, it's more stable because that's the dirty side of the track. So you actually want to make the overtake successful. And it's more consistent as well. So it's no use you fast 2-3 laps of the race and then the rest you're struggling with brakes. Because then you got to brake earlier, the car floats all over the place, and that's what we had last year. And then I was like, no, can we please do something about this so that it can actually be better? And of course your lap time is faster because now you're not overdriving the car on other things to try and compensate for what you're lacking on the brakes.
Whoa. Man, like I said, you're schooling me a lot here, and I love cars, I love machines. So, just a bit on you. You came second in the endurance kart racing in Mozambique, and the shifter kart category formula in Benoni. You got 5th place, right? What are you going for now? Where are you going now? What are you chasing now?
So we've moved to endurance car racing, mainly the focus. So the kart racing is still there. So I drive with a youngster, he's 15, I think he is. So that's more like a development thing. And speaking of development, we're actually doing a development race, the next race that I'm doing, but it's in a Cobra. So I'm teamed up with another lady racer and then a youngster, he's 17. So we're creating that Rainbow Nation inclusive, diversive team. But we all have our different strengths. Like I'm highly technical. I can feel everything the car does. Meticulous, very meticulous. And so that's my expertise. And that's what helps me go fast, is to actually getting all of that right. Lonica's very fast. So that's very good too. And Oleratu races karts at the moment, but he's done some circuit racing as well. But we've developed him into that because we wanted to bring him into the Cobra with us. So it's going to be his first Cobra race.
That is amazing, man. I'm loving that you're saying that, it is all inclusive, if I can put it that way, because I think as a country, we on the ground need to definitely show more that we can include everybody into everything. And it brings me to my next question, is that this is a male-dominated sport. How have you been able to keep your head up?
So I think the biggest focus for me when I race is, again, I think maybe that's why I'm so precise and make everything perfect, because I race to win. So it's not about whoever's on the grid. So if there is 5 girls, 10 girls, no girls, For me, it's everybody's racing drivers, and we're here to do a thing, and we're here to extract the best out of everything there is. Because motor racing is very tricky, because the conditions change, the tire wear changes, the weather changes, it rains, it dries, more grip, less grip. The circuit changes from the beginning of the race to the end of the race. It's not the same. So you have to adapt the whole time. So your adaptability needs to be extremely high. And I think being a woman, in a sense of in karting, it's very important, the strength. So we lack the physical strength in general, so we train more, but it makes us more dedicated, I think, and more determined to actually succeed, because we've got to work so much harder. So on average, a guy that weighs the same as me is naturally stronger, so he has to work less to achieve what he needs to achieve. Yeah. So in a car where you've got power steering and that, it sort of eliminates that aspect, but we've now got that whole drive and everything that's there, so we can bring different things to the platform that we're better at. And I definitely think I'm much more calmer in a car. I envision my move about 3 laps before I actually make it. I already know where I'm going to pass the person, because I'm busy analyzing where he's slower and where I'm faster and things like that. So by the time I get there, I know how to execute it. And then of course, to protect my line, like the fun race I did just 2 weeks ago, where I felt I haven't been in a kart now in a while, and it's really hitting me nicely, because I'm suffering. But I got myself together and I managed to win the last heat in the shifter kart. And it was purely, there was an opportunity and I took it, and I overtook, because I was third at the time. And I overtook the second guy because he dropped a wheel, so I caught him off guard. And the guy that was leading was naturally slower anyway. So I passed him, but then I strategically made sure that they can't take me back. It gave me a gap and I just maintained it and I won.
That is amazing, man. That sounds super, super, super exciting. One last question before we go into the break. You spoke about winning, but how important is losing also for you?
It definitely builds character. I had a karting team for 10 years, and teaching that into children and watching them cry and suffer and dealing with this disappointment, I know exactly how they feel, because I dealt with that a lot as well, and it's continuous. Motorsport is
so you have to have like a healthy relationship with losing, right?
Between the two, so losing is more about, analyzing what exactly went wrong. Was it me? Was it out of my control? Because a lot of things can go wrong on the car. We had that in the last Cobra race. We had a wiring failure, so we went from first to last. And now you just got to build yourself up to that. And those things happen. It's out of your control. So it's definitely, that's the first point of call that I do. Is it in my control or not? And then if it is in my control, what do I do to better myself, to be a better driver next time, so that I can deliver what I need to. So it's learning from the mistakes.
Back from the break on the BFIT Podcast, and today on the hot seat we've got Fabienne Lanz. She's amazing, man. She's a professional race car driver, and ons vra vir 'n bietjie meer vrae, because I can imagine how many places you've seen around the world. But allow me to start here. So you've won a few championships in Italy, if I'm not mistaken, twice. Take us on that journey.
So championships are South African, but races are in Italy.
Okay.
So definitely world stage is always different. Wow. Even though the drivers in South Africa are very talented, I think we are definitely undermined. So when we shine overseas, like a Brad Binder, Calvin and Sheldon van der Linde, like they do, people are quite surprised, and it's like, okay, but we know them, we know they're kick-ass, and we know they're really good. So they fly the flag really high, and so yes, racing in Italy, that's your pinnacle of kart racing. So definitely in the world of karting, when you go race in Italy, now you're on the real stage.
Oh, nice.
So performing well there is always good, and of course, being in a minority, you sort of stand out, and then the technical people are like, why is this one so fast? So they strip your engine after every heat, and eventually they leave you alone because they see everything is fine, this one's just fast. Wow. So I got a nickname from the girl from the south. I got that a few times. So I was like, I'll take it. But it's nice. It's a nice journey, and a lot of respect gets gained from the drivers. I've had some really good races with them, and it really becomes that where you're racing out there and off the track, it can just be that respect amongst the people. Because the biggest challenge is actually the people that actually don't know how much it takes, or the involvement or education of what motorsport is. And they're the ones that sort of run the men down when a woman beats them. And I often find myself defending the guy I just beat to say, like, but he's just a driver.
You've got such a beautiful heart.
Fine, you know? It's a shame. Don't do that. Because there is a whole big drive at the moment in motorsport about women in motorsport and supporting the women that are coming through motorsport. And I raced in Spain, actually, in a world final in 2022. And I won a couple of my heats. My 3 students did amazing. They were winning and top 5 all the time as well. And I had a look and I was like, okay, but where's the other woman? Why am I doing this on my own? Yes, it's nice to be in front and be the woman leading and all of that. But what about the others? You know, they can't just be competing just to be the back of the field. Because we don't want to be invited just to join the field. We need to be competitive. And that's the key. And I think a lot of people are actually missing that. So they're trying to make it inclusive, but they're saying, okay, we tick the box, the woman is racing, but she's at the back. You know, she needs a bit of help. She needs what it is, education, assistance with the parents. It's a lot of background stuff that is needed to get the girl faster. And I think for me, it was very different because my dad raced. So I never saw myself as now I'm a lady that's racing. No, my dad whipped my ass and was like, there, get the job done. We're racing here. We're not playing.
Come on. I'm going to get to your dad in a moment. You've traveled, as I said, you've traveled the world, you know. I want to first ask you this. Where was your favorite place to actually go race?
Wow.
Outside of South Africa.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But I suppose one always gravitates to the ones you do well at.
I hear you.
You know, so definitely Italy. It's a place called Lonato. So it's by the Garda Lake. So it's central north of Italy. And that's everybody knows that track. When you're a karter, you know that track and you want to race there. I can literally still smell the grass sitting here. It's like that.
That's I was just about to say that's memorabilia. Wow,
yeah. You know, and it's even like, you know, on practice days you go and then you see a red helmet blitzing past and you're like, that is Michael Schumacher. And at the time it was him, and I was like, no ways that you get to go and see something like this.
How incredible.
So there's really amazing people that go and race. The Formula One drivers actually practice there a lot in the off season. That is
incredible.
So to go and share a racetrack like that, and then of course when you win on it and do well in it, in 2007 I finished 5th there out of 80 people, and that was the very first time I was there. Wow. And that's that memory that sticks with you. And I won a couple of races after that there as well in different categories. And also you get to race with factory teams. You get these tuned engines. You got to learn Italian. You got to tell this tuner what you need. Otherwise you're falling off the bus, because the lap times are so close. It doesn't become a thing of everybody's doing the same lap time. It basically becomes of where you're faster. You need to be fast the whole time, like the beginning of the race and the end of the race.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's so much. Literally, you take one corner at a time. You just focus each corner at a time. You're either defending or you're passing someone.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. Tell us something in Italian.
Italian. You know, they always in a language you don't know, they always teach you the swear words.
Yes.
So obviously that's the first thing that I learned, but we won't use a swear word. I don't know if I can string a sentence together. I just know basic words.
Okay, yeah, give me any basic word.
Because again, in the lingo, you know, you need to know what you need to tell this
exactly
person, like,
to do something for you.
Doesn't have enough fuel, so you like tell the guy, okay, it's magro.
Magro.
Yeah.
So magro is
it's
like
too lean. Yeah.
I don't have enough fuel.
Yeah.
I feel like that every week. Like I don't have enough fuel. Fuel is expensive in South Africa. I don't have enough fuel.
Yeah. So then you tell the guy it's magro, or you tell him a popular word is stalla.
Okay.
So that means where the engine peaks out. It doesn't continue sort of gaining momentum.
Okay.
So it's running out of RPM. So that can be a thing of either it's the ratio is too short. So you're good out the corners, but it doesn't have legs like we call on the long straights.
Yes.
So we
And
need a
what
bit
is that,
more top
Stella?
end speed. So then you say stalla. Then it's
With
like
an A, not the beer Stella.
It's like hitting a brick wall. It doesn't want to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then so you use the stalla, and then the chassis are telayo, things like that. And for me, it was always important to ask where the bathroom is. I was like, always if I go to a
yeah.
how do I ask where is the toilet?
Yes.
So, and they got male and female. So if I can remember correctly, it is dove la cabinetto delle donne. Yes. So where is the ladies' bathroom?
That's a lot. I just Stella right there. I feel like I hit a brick wall. No, that is absolutely amazing, man. That is fantastic. Getting to your pops, I know that your pops always used to gonna say your druk. My English data just deplenished now. It's like gone. Go over into Afrikaans. But I know your dad used to push you a lot, and especially as I said a bit earlier on, in a male-dominated sport, you know. And of course, bullying is something that you encountered. But your dad would actually like say, "No, you go do this," you know. You have it. How important was that for you, that dad didn't actually protect you in that moment, but said, "Hey, man, you've got this"?
Yeah, so I think that's very important, because I hear it time and time again from other girls that race, where they say they deal with a lot of disrespect and bullying and things like that. And I think I cleared that out of my system actually really quick.
Sure.
So he would always be real. Like if it was my fault, he would tell me that it was your fault. You can't do that. You know, so he wouldn't try and always sugarcoat it and, like you say, protect me from it. He would be real. And if it was my mistake, he would tell me to go to that driver and actually just apologize. But he would explain it. He wouldn't just he was always real. And that's what I like about him. I know what he says is what he means. And that was very important, especially when it got difficult, when there was times where the other driver was actually at fault and I needed to stand my ground, and now I'm going to argue this with this guy and I'm 10 years old, but he wouldn't get involved. So he would always try and keep the parents out of it, so that the kids talk to each other. And that's very important, because you don't want to be intimidated by someone's parent. And if a parent did get involved, which did happen, he would then step in. And I think that is really, really important. And of course, he did tell me, elbows out. You better find a way over this guy, under the guy, left of the guy, whatever you need to do. When this oak sees your purple helmet, he must be worried.
I absolutely love that. That sounds like great advice from Dad. And would you say that you are fortunate that your pops supported you in what you do? Because I know from let's say in some families, in some family can I say organizations and the way they do things, parents aren't always supportive. And if you could say to our viewers right now, and especially to parents that have kids that have an interest, you started it so well by saying that, you know, you first did ballet and then your dad was like, okay, cool, let's see if you really stick it out with this racing thing. Will it work, you know? But how important was it for Dad to actually support you 100% in what you wanted to do?
That is really important, because even with the coaching of the kids, every time the kid comes, I always check in. Is this the parent's dream or is it the kid's dream? Because a lot of parents, doesn't matter which sport it is, there's a sport that they couldn't do, and now their child can do it, so they want to steer the kid in doing something that they want, and it's actually not what the kid wants. So regardless of the sport, whatever the sport is that the kid chooses, if you can just be there for moral support, don't tell them what to do, because that's the coach's job. Because there's it's emotional for the kid, and you're living with your parent. So how do you now deal with your parent now telling you what to do? And of course that was an interesting dynamic with my dad, because he's now being the racing driver that's winning, and he needs to tell me what to do, and I have to listen to him as a coach, like he's my coach, but at home he's my dad.
Yes.
You know, so it's an interesting thing that you need to balance. But of course he then got me coaches, because exactly that, he's my dad and he needs to stay my dad. And that's the biggest thing with the parent and children, is when they support their children, they mustn't take over and shout at their kids and things like that, and then at home expect the kid to be this loving kid because you shouted at them when they're busy competing or whatever it is. And mistakes, they should make mistakes, lots of them, when they're still learning. Because the worst thing is if you're making a mistake at a national competition level, then you don't want to be making that mistake. So mistakes are good. They're actually good. So, and that's the kids need to know it's okay to make the mistake, learn from it, and then get over it, so that you can go to the next level. And that's the important role a parent plays.
We're back on the BFIT Podcast with Fabienne Lanz. Soos wat jy nou gehoor het, man, sy is amazing en sy is 'n professionele race car driver. Ek dink dit vat nogals. How many hours do you think have you done on the track?
Wow. Okay, if I can boast a bit, I'll count all the trophies, and then I'll count all the days before that.
Please do, like humble brag.
And then you gotta like count that in. Wow, I don't know.
A lot.
Maybe like half my life. No, not that. A lot. I think that's with any training. The more you put in, the more you get out.
For sure. Definitely. There's something that really touches me about you as well, is that you're such a support, and we're going to get to the kids that you work with in a moment, and to the camps that you do. But you are an overall supporter as well. I know your sister rides horses.
Yes.
And there's at times that of course you go and support her as well, and you both root for each other, you know, which is absolutely amazing, man. I'm gonna ask this: why that love and not competition?
In what way that love?
The love of siblingship, rather than having this whole thing of, no, I'm competing, no, I'm better than you, no, I'm better than I'm a race car driver, and you are.
I understand.
Yes.
I think that's maybe a family upbringing.
Come on.
My sister chose horses from a young age, and of course I tried it as well. And then it got a fright. I fell off. I was like, nope, this is not for me. And also, this is something that does its own thing. And I'm like, no, I want to be in control. So in a car, I'm the driver, so I'm in control.
Yes.
And I suppose I grew into that from the young age, and being with my dad and being at the racetracks and that. And my sister, she had that love for horses from young. But it's amazing when I go and watch her, the talent that she has. Because there's also been times where, you always have to walk the course. So you know how many steps and this, and she just looks at it, and then she goes and she figures it out, and then she goes and does the whole thing, and I'm just like mind blown. I'm like, how do you do that? That is skill. That's a talent, that's a passion. She's like, it's getting sick, and I'm like, it looks fine. Like, how do you see this? But she's become such a specialist in it.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, but it's everybody that is a specialist in their field. I find I've got so much admiration for them, and I'm a curious person by nature. So I always like to go and find out more. And I think that's what's nice about motorsport also. There's so many aspects to it. There's marketing, there's media, there's PR. Like just earlier on, I was busy writing a proposed post that we want to make for this race that the three of us are going to race. And an eye for photography, clothing. I plug myself into everything. But of course, when it then comes to the nitty-gritty of, I am a racing driver first. So that I do first and foremost. And my training and everything goes for that. But back to the sibling support. I think it's with everything that I do, actually. I mean, I support other athletes in other sports as well. I had such a nice coffee with Letsecho Zulu the other day, and she's a cyclist. She did the Cape Epic again, like the 4th time.
Yeah.
And she just takes me through to what she does, and I'm like, can I be your support crew next time?
That's cool.
You know, to be there on what you do, because she roots me on what I do. And I think finding those type of women and sticking together would be so powerful.
I love that. And there's of course a lot of support that you do, like even on a bigger scale. Tell us about what you do for kids. There's something that we were actually discussing off air just now, how important it is to give back. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so giving back, it's so important, because you need to make the impact and how it affects the person in their life. Because it's one thing seeing an icon that's doing really great in whatever sport they're doing, but it's unreachable. You can't get there. You get the autograph, but what happens on Monday? You go back to school, and it's like doom and gloom.
Yes.
And you want to try and instill that passion in the person. Doesn't matter what they do, because they've got a skill set that they've been given that maybe doesn't suit soccer, but it suits running, or it suits swimming, or it suits motor racing. And that's where I derived this motorsport camp, where we try and touch and instill little seedlings into the kids, and actually dig out what is their talent, what are they good at, where can we find what, and provide that platform so that we can have that wonderful story of like a Gugu Zulu that comes through the ranks and actually shines like a superstar, like a Lewis Hamilton does. And there's so many stories that there is, but how do you make it relatable at grassroots for that individual? And then I've got a nick for actually reading kids and actually understanding what are they good at. So I've devised a vision board where we unpack the different characters in each kid.
Sure.
And these are in these motorsport camps. So we're creating a database of which then when racing
that's
teams
amazing, man.
and things like that come to me and say, we need this person, I can be like, there's your person. And creating that platform, I think, is really important. And the person that's hungry, that really wants to do this and that's good at it, will arrive and will get that opportunity. And if I can just be the bridge to help them, then I think that's a job well done.
No, Fabienne, you literally like, I was sitting here, I'm like, you're saying something so important, because, we tend to basically shine the spotlight on ourselves quite a lot of times. And I'm also very guilty of this, right? It'll be like me. But where am I giving back? And I'm so happy to hear the way that you are giving back. It's amazing and it's wonderful. And you spoke about Gugu Zulu. I know that you also had to do with him in a stage and in a time, right? What did you guys do together?
So we did the hill climb in Knysna, which is actually coming up now in May again. So they do it every May. So we did it in a legend car, and him being the rally driver, he won the class and I finished second. But it was a wonderful weekend of where we actually raced together. But the more special time with him was actually the traveling to and from Knysna. Because he would be driving and I'm sitting next to him in the front, and we're just talking, and it's like an 11-hour drive that felt like 2. Because we're just diving into whatever experience he's going through, to like the beginning when he started with my dad in the Sports 2000 to where he's going. And of course the thing that resonates, and I know a lot of people, everybody that knows Gugu knows, it's that smile that always goes with him. He even had a smile on his helmet because he was the smiley. And even when I had difficult times of trying to figure things out, or a setback, like we spoke about, when you make mistakes and you lose, like how do you bounce back? And he was definitely a positive drive in there, where he'd be like, just keep going, just one step at a time. And remember, you need to smile when you do that.
Oh man, you're talking to my heart right now, because I think that is exactly what we must do in our field and in our calling, is that we should leave behind such a great memory that, look, I mean, we're still talking about Gugu today, which is quite amazing. And it means that you made such a huge impact and you were literally fully within your purpose. And that's why you made such a great impact. And I believe the same with you as well. Like, I mean, as one does, I did my research very well before I came to sit here with you. But I've seen what you're doing for kids and the camps that you're doing for kids. En hulle gaan dit vir ewig onthou, man. They're going to remember that stuff forever, and your legacy is going to basically go on and on and on. And I can hear with what your dad has also done for you, you know, you keep on mentioning him, and I can see that he's such an inspiration for you. And he was literally perfect because he knew how to be a coach, and he also knows how to be a dad, which is absolutely amazing. And I believe that you also know how to be a coach, and you know how to be a friend,
yes.
which is super cool. I absolutely love that. As we wrap up, I want to know about your love for the nature.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you love the nature so much? Because I found that I love traveling our country. I've done all 9 provinces in our country.
Nice.
And there's something about, especially the Mpumalanga area, the Graskop area, that I absolutely, I love that nature. I love the quiet of that nature. But what do you find in nature?
So my one friend, he always used to drill me saying that I'm too much at the track. I'm too much of this. He's like, you need a balance because you're going to burn out. So I was like, what is a balance and how do I do this now? Okay, so how do I find the balance?
But you know about a burnout because you drive racing cars, right?
Yes, literally. So I was like, okay, let's find a balance. What could the balance be? And then I was like, let's try the Kruger. We haven't been. I used to go when I was small a lot with the parents, and then I was like, let me go again. And then maybe 10 years ago, I went again, and I thought, this is something, because it's absolute silence. But the thing that's similar to the silence, or exactly the same, is before I race, I go and almost lock myself away. Because I like to just be with me. I don't want noise. I don't want people talking to me. I don't want music. I don't want nothing. I just want my own space so that I can just be, so that I can go and do what I need to go and do. Because the tension, the pressure, the heat, the fatigue, all of that is something that we need to deal with, and it's coming. So it's just enjoying that moment of peace before you go and unleash everything you've got. And nature does that because it's so quiet. So you learn to listen to the birds. You learn to listen to the small things. And of course, me being the curious person, I now want to know, what is this or what is that? So I went as far as even getting a field guide book and actually learning more about trees. Because now going to nature, like the Kruger is my favorite place.
Okay.
But just going there just to go and look at what? You know, that you can't just stand still. You have to keep developing, learning. You know, education is the best investment you can make in yourself. So definitely the last few years since COVID, I've been reading books like crazy. Like The Art of Resilience is a recent book that I read, and amazing book. And I think that's why I do the warrior races, because I want to see how much suffering I can tolerate, because I don't train for it at all. But it's fascinating to see how much you can push yourself. And so Kruger is the balance for me. But it's also where my volunteering heart comes in. And where I do volunteering things in the surrounding communities, with the vision boards in schools, in rural schools. And that is all nature. And I think it's also because it's so majestic. When you're racing, there's so many things that can go wrong. So it's like you're relying on this something that's majestic. And I think nature has that as well.
Man, that is so well explained. Love it. Absolutely love it. What does BFIT do for you?
It's such an amazing environment. So you know you're the average of the 7 people around you. So the athletes
you don't
in here,
say.
Yeah, the athletes in here are phenomenal, because everybody's going for their own thing that they need to be good at. But we cross over a lot of things. But there's a lot of things that I can give. There's a lot of things that they give to me. And the energy is just phenomenal. It's really such positive energy that comes off and that I need. So it's almost therapeutical as well. And then you've got Bernardo, that he's just so straightforward and so funny. But he's really cutthroat, you know. He doesn't sugarcoat it either. So I know about that no sugarcoating.
Yes.
But he means well. And he's ever learning something on how to be better. And he uses himself as the example to do that. So he leads by example. And I like to be the same.
I love that, man. I love what you said, because I know I have a total new program and it doesn't look anything like my previous one. I'm like, what is this guy doing to me? But you know what? I feel so great afterwards. I really feel great afterwards. And it's also because he's such a visionary person that he knows what I want and he knows how to get me there. And that's, I love the fact that you said he keeps on educating himself because he knows that there's better ways of actually getting you there, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes. And the sports science that goes into
it,
exactly. Because you're like, I'm getting sore here. How do we tackle that? And then you do like the weirdest training things, but they work. They work very well.
They work. He's definitely taught me about stretching as well, which ek baie min gedoen het, but it has become such an important thing in my life. But I'm happy that you found home here, and as you said, you said such an important thing, that you literally become like the people that you surround yourself with, and here are really high performing people at BFIT, and it's an amazing family. It's really an amazing family, and I can just see how mentally I'm becoming better, how physically I'm becoming better, and that just literally boils over into the rest of your life. Laaste vraag, can you change your car wheel?
Can I change?
Your car wheel.
I can. I can, and I proudly do it alone. I don't want anyone to help me.
I was like a man ding om te vra, nee. It's like a man ding om te vra. Fabienne Lanz, the professional racing driver on the BFIT Podcast. We're about to leave the building. Baie dankie dat julle saam met ons gekuier het. Dit was so lekker geweest. Please come visit again. It was fun. And tell us about all the stuff that you do, and especially the giving back that you do as well. We love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lekker.
I'd love to share the story.
Excellent stuff. Ons sien jou volgende keer.